Hi there, I'm Linda Parker. Thank you for watching our teaser video today. I'm here with Kathy Berkidge from Mind at Work Consulting. Hi Kathy, thank you for talking to us today all the way from Australia. Please introduce yourself and what you do.
Thanks, Linda. Such a pleasure to be part of BA Life once again. I am an Agile BA. I've been an Agile BA since 2005. And I was a BA for 10 years before that, and I was in IT probably another 5 or 10 years before that. So over 35 years in IT, in technical roles, but predominantly as a business analyst, and then predominantly in Agile projects. Nowadays, I consult, I coach, I train, and I mentor other BAs as well.
Thanks, Kathy. Now, this isn't your first time at BA Live, or doing a teaser interview for that matter. So what is it that you like presenting about BA Live, and what inspired you to take part again?
Firstly, the people. They are a wonderful bunch and you really feel like you're part of a community. Second of all, when I think of BA Life, even though we all know it stands for Business Analysis Learning Innovation Festival in Edinburgh, I just focus on it's about the life of a BA and how we can improve our lives at work as a BA with all the insightful stories, people, and information that we learn. So it is learning, and we're learning about how to innovate. We're not necessarily in Edinburgh, and it's definitely a festival we can all enjoy.
Thanks for that, Kathy. Now, you are scheduled to appear in the Modernising the Traditional BA track, which focuses on how the modern BA can push the boundaries with forward-thinking business analysis tools and techniques and their application. And your talk is the 3 S's of user stories. Now, I didn't really want to delve into that in the traditional way, but having done a lot of user stories in the past, I wanted to ask you some questions and get your thoughts on user stories without kind of straying too much into your talk on the day. So I've dreamed up these questions because they're sort of burning questions for me. So my first question is, having written a lot of user stories in the past, the biggest problem seems to be how to make them the right size. Why do you think sizing is such a big problem?
Well, Linda, it is the bane of most Agile delivery teams that I've experienced. It's a bit like a Goldilocks parable, right? Not too hot, not too cold, but just right. User stories in the same way. If a user story is too big, we start a sprint, we try to implement it, and then we fail to deliver. And at the end of the sprint, we do our sprint review or our demo, and there's nothing to show. We didn't finish it. And the team can be left hanging, demoralized, disappointed, and the stakeholders thinking, what's going on? I thought they were going to show me this and there's nothing. So that's the problem of them being too big. Being too small can be a less of a problem, but sometimes when they are too small, they don't provide any value. We might be breaking them into actual tasks of delivery rather than value that their users can enjoy and we can show when we're doing that demo. So too small, they might be too granular and not valuable. Too big, they're not deliverable. We've got to find that Goldilocks place where they're not too big and not too small, but also clearly deliverable and can actually be completed, including all quality and acceptance criteria in the sprint to build that confidence and motivation for our stakeholders and teams alike.
Yep. And I know that this might be straying into your presentation, but how do we achieve that? Is that what you're going to cover on the 27th of April?
Absolutely. We know that user stories come in all shapes and sizes. And at the beginning of the project, or maybe when they're low priority and they're sitting at the bottom of the prioritized product backlog, maybe we can leave them a bit vague and a little bit big and a little bit not quite refined. But when it comes to actually delivering them, we've got to make sure that they are usable and deliverable. And that's what we're going to focus on. How do you get them to the state that they're ready to go into a sprint, and then that can be delivered in that sprint. So there's tangible, deliverable and value for both the stakeholders and the product owner. We're going to talk about lots of examples of good, bad, and ugly user stories and how we might use the 3 S's to achieve them to be perfect to go into a sprint.
That's great. Thanks, Kathy. Now, another question I had that is really close to my heart, because I've been in the industry a long time as well, so I've seen how different styles of writing things have progressed. Is there still space in today's world for user stories and the older kind of way of writing things of use cases?
I used to be called the use case queen. I don't think I've progressed to being a decent Agile BA without it, because if we start writing user stories, it's a bit like looking at a tree leaf at a time. You don't see the big picture, you don't see how they fit together. If you see a bunch of leaves and then try to construct a tree, you can't do it that way. You've got to start with its major pieces, then focus on the leaves. I find use cases are a bit of that analogy. We can see end-to-end a user task or an end-to-end business process, and we use that use case scenario and alternatives to explore what's really required. That use case then very easily translates into small bite-sized chunks that are those deliverable user stories. So they provide that really good framework that us as a BA can help our stakeholders understand the end-to-end process, along with our delivery teams, so we can see the whole tree and then focus on delivering each piece together so they do form that interlocking end-to-end business process, and allow us to prioritise, of course, what parts there may be alternate flows, which there could be millions of alternate flows in a use case. Some of them are likely, some of them are 1 in 1,000. You might prioritise those alternate flows to become, dare I say it, separate user stories to be delivered and prioritised on our backlog. 100%. We don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. We shouldn't be throwing away use cases just because suddenly we're agile. They're still a great tool for the teams to collaborate, discuss, and develop good user stories.
That's great, Kathy. Thanks for answering those questions and just giving us a little bit of a hint of your world and the information to come. So that's been a great conversation. One more thing many of our listeners might want to know, and that is how they could get in touch with you. What's the best way?
Sure, I'm always happy to hear from anyone who I can help progress the Agile way of working. I do have a website, which is my business website, which is mindatworkconsulting.com.au. Yep, Australia. But I'm also happy to be emailed, and my email address, I probably don't want to be spammed forever, so it's just Kathy@mindatworkconsulting. I'm sure you'll pass on the details. And you can always find me on LinkedIn, which is my preferred method. There's only one Kathy Berkidge in the world. Some people would be very happy with that. So find me on LinkedIn, connect with me, and reach out if you've got questions or if I can throw some references and help you in any way.
That's great. Thanks for that, Kathy. And thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. If you are watching this and want to know any more about Kathy or her talk or BA Life, please visit our website, which is www.balife.co.uk. Thanks again for talking with us today, and we look forward to seeing you on the 27th of April 2023. Not long now. Thanks again. Bye.